his first pole position. That surprised me, Greg Russ, just before, because with all the wins he's had next to his name, I for sure would have thought there'd been a pole position there. But Owen Kelly, well, he'll join him on the front row. Looking forward to these first two in the first turn.
Good job by Brett Holdsworth in that qualifying session to end up third. And Lockie Dalton, who is in the old car, raced by Owen Kelly from last season. That's one of his best performances today. Terrific job. Bit of head scratching going on with Tim Brook out of position 6. And I saw Paul Forgy and a few others down there yesterday endeavouring to sort that out. So we're scheduled for 14 laps here. Very American-style approach to this map with Trans Am Racing. We'll roll around, we'll bunch the field up, we'll make some awesome noise here at Sydney Motorsport Park as we continue the countdown to tonight's racing. Cannot wait for that under lights. It'll be all lit up around here, but the afternoon gets the party started for you. Nathan Hearn versus Owen Kelly. Those cars are prepped under the same Gary Rogers Motorsport roof, but they are both fighting hard in this series. Hearn on top of the point standings from Tim Brook, who's got work to do. This, if you've not seen it, is the Turtle Wax Trans Am Series. So much noise about this category at the moment. A relatively cheap way to go racing, but it's a lot of fun. Hearn gets the jump on Kelly as they run down to 1. The Valvoline entry, nothing in it. That Breeze entry behind. That's Holdsworth up into 3rd. Look at Nash Morris with the elbows out. Ripping start from Nash Morris. Been a bit of contact. And around they go. How the officials will look at that, I don't know, because it was awkward coming through 1, which is very fast, Matt, as you know.
Not surprised that happened, Rusty. I was watching out the window while you looked at the screen. They were 4 wide. Grice made up a move. He just parked it down the middle and was taking no for an answer. But it's such a tight approach there at turn number 2. Someone had to give, and that spiced up the race now. That was a cool first sector of racing.
You're talking about Ben Grice, son of the great Alan Grice, a Bathurst winner. That Napa, that blue, yellow and white car there, that's being driven by Jet Johnson, grandson of none other than Dick Johnson. Coming up this week, he, his father Stephen and the great man Dick, granddad, they'll get to drive a Mustang together. That's a really cool family story.
Very special day that's going to be at Queensland Raceway, and that's the next track we're going to in the series. Let's not worry about that because we'll have 13 laps to go at the end of this lap. There is Stephen Johnson going down the inside. Jet Johnson making the move. There's John Harris at the tail of the field with Brock Bowley in car 33. As it settles down for a moment anyway, Hearn, Kelly, Holdsworth, McCorkindale and Grice on their way down to the final turn at the end of a frenetic lap number 1.
Frenetic is underscore highlight that. Morris, there's some damage to the right front of that car, and I think that's as a result of the skirmish through turn 1. So the Super Cheap Auto entry is sporting some battle scars. His dad Paul is on the roof above us here along the pit straight area at Sydney Motorsport Park, doing that NASCAR style spotter, offering his son some advice. Paul, of course, the Bathurst winner in 2014. Lock brake. Now off goes the Napa entry.
And Tim Shaw's the other car. I saw the smoke out the window. So the 66 machine and the Napa Auto Parts Academy entry off the track. You can hear the Hoosier tyres starting to scream through the Atmos bikes then. Johnson returns to the track. Tim Shaw, not so.
Shaw's down 24th in the order here at the moment. Bit of bodywork damage in the back. Now that's Tim Brook in the 38. Elliot Barber ahead of him. And when that incident unfolded as we go yellow around Sydney Motorsport Park, I reckon Tim Brook got out of it. I reckon he saw ahead of him. Yep. That was all going to custard with Tim Shaw and with Jet Johnson venturing off the track, and he got out of it. So there's Shaw's car.
Wow. Fastest point of the track too to have contact. That's the second incident of the day we've had down there, and straight up the Hyundai safety car out onto the track. They'll wait for Nathan Hearn, Owen Kelly and the like to catch up. But what's happened to the 66? He's on the track still. Johnson has returned back in 24th position in the Napa Auto Parts entry. Safety car flags out, and with 13 laps to go, might be a chance to cool some jets down. Not just Jet Johnson, but just a lot of the drivers out there. That was wild.
Certainly was. And Owen Kelly looked like he was starting to bolt together a better lap, Matt, in that fight up in front. So let's get a sense, certainly, of the start of the race, what unfolded. So watch mid-pack there. That's what Matt was keeping an eye on.
So they fanned out here, Rusty, 3 and 4 wide. Watch Grice in the All-American driveline car, pulls across the last second and goes through a gap that really wasn't there in the 3, but made it work.
McCorkindale, great start from him in that pink and black entry to the inside. Kelly NASCAR style, trying to run around the outside, but then slots into second place. Now watch for the super cheap entry. That's hard. I don't know that that's Nash's fault. I just reckon it's run out of room there, hasn't it?
It's got the grass.
Grass, exactly.
And he got away with it, and that's typical in a racing incident. The one that tends to start it gets away with it. That was Pappas going to the tail. There is Mark Crutcher. So that was the first moment for Jed Johnson. In fact, he helped him out going through turn number 7.
That was a bit Days of Thunder. Well, remember me.
But later in the lap, we contact with this car. The returning Tim Shaw, car 66. We haven't seen him since the race number 1. Remember, there was that incident in the first race on the Saturday down there. That put him out for the entire weekend. So the Hyundai safety car is out on the track. Let's go to pit lane. Carus.
Thanks, guys. I'm standing here with Stephen Johnson. Stephen, do you know what happened down into turn 1 there with Jet?
It looks like Tim Shaw's, he's gone into turn 1, and whether he's busted a power steering line or an oil line's come off and just smoke everywhere, and Jet was only 2 cars behind him, and looks like he got caught out on his oil. So he spun and went off and got back on. Luckily, he said everything looks okay, so we'll start from the back.
Is he happy in the car?
No, he wasn't happy with his start, no. So Paul just there's having to calm him down a little bit and just obviously get him back into the group. There's still plenty of laps to go. You make up some spots and keep it clean. And, we've got race 2 later on tonight and race 3 tomorrow.
All right, best of luck, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Should say g'day as well to Bree Johnson watching back home in Queensland, and no doubt Grandad is doing that as well. In 2015, I was very fortunate to go to the Le Mans 24-hour race. I can promise you it is one of the most iconic motor races in the world. The 24 hours of Le Mans is coming to Stan. You'll see the entire race live and exclusive on June 12. Whatever you do, we want to take a look at some replays, Matt, because you've been a bit eagle-eyed here. What's particularly in relation to...
It's a shot from the other side, watching Shaw coming in. Now, at first, I thought that was a locked tire. Look at Mark Crutcher, second incident and as many laps to get away from the scene of the crime there in car 4. Big burst of flame then from the 66 from the front on shot. Right-hand side, look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Now, the question for me is, has that laid any slippery stuff down in turn number 1? Gee, Johnson was so lucky here too. I mean, it's a long way out there to pull the car up away from the wall, but get out of the gravel trap at the same time, and that's pretty damning. Look at the oil on the back of the appliance white, number 66. Let's go to pit lane.
I'm standing here with Marcus Ambrose. Marcus, you're the man on the cans for Owen Kelly. How's the start of the race going for you guys?
It's a bit tough because I'm also cheering for Nathan Hearn as well. He's one of our JRM cars, so we're 1-2 right now, but Owen's a good friend of mine. I'm on his cans, radio cans that is, right now. Look, we're just watching turn 1 here. Tim Shaw's blown his motor up on the run into 1 or dropped an oil on or something, so we're just actually discussing about the oil on the run into turn 1 and what he's going to do on the restart here.
Is he like coming to you with information, or is it more about you telling him what you're seeing? We're up here on the top of the racetrack and you get to see so much.
I've got a bird's eye view from right here, so I'm actually telling him what's going on. He's having trouble to see it because the sun is sort of setting in here from the west, and so he can't really see it that well, but I think we've told him enough now. These Trans Ams are fantastic, aren't they? Big horsepower, lots of incidents and accidents, but it would be nice to get some green flag running here.
All right, best of luck for the rest of the race.
Thank you.
You've got to remember too, both Owen Kelly and Marcus Ambrose have that NASCAR connection too, Matt. So you can go back to Montreal, for example. Marcus was racing in the main game, Jet's in to compete in the second tier, as it was, of NASCAR at that stage. Owen had qualified the car, run the car. Marcus arrived just in time for the race. They know how they do that NASCAR speak, if you will, don't they?
Yeah, it's a great relationship they've had for many, many years as well. I was chatting to him last night up on top of that viewing area there, which gives you one of the best views of Sydney Motorsport Park. And he was just egging him on straight away. Hearn, just let's get on with it, fine track position. So don't think he's here just to watch the races. He's here to get these guys further and further up the grid. And how much further can you push Hearn? Because he's dominated this year's series. Another car limping back into the pits now. Is that looking like a tyre, Rusty, the way it's crabbing?
Collapsed there, hasn't it, on the right-hand side. Right front, look at the sparks underneath it. Look at the damage there for Carroll's car.
So it's damage, it's definitely not a tyre. Look at it, just stopped completely underneath the guard. It's one of the Dream Racing cars headed by NASCAR legend Kim Jane, who I was talking to last night. He's actually hinted, I'm missing the driving side.
Ooh.
And that got me excited too, because he's from our era. And I said the sport needs people like you guys back in there right now, but enjoying his time fielding no less than 4 cars at any given weekend, the Dream Racing team.
Can we give a shout out to young Zach Bates, currently in 6th position. Now, if you follow your motor racing, you'll know that we've brought you coverage very recently of the Canberra round. They were in Western Australia recently in the ARC. That's where his cousins compete. Harry Bates, who's a champion. You know, they've won heats over there recently, as well as the crew go to work here, just keeping an eye on the Carroll car. That's Zach's cousins. So Zach is very much a part of the Bates family, but he's gone down the circuit racing path. His dad is Rick Bates, Neil Bates' brother. This is their other brother's Trans Am car, Nicholas's car. Zach's at the wheel of it this weekend, 6th on debut. That's pretty handy.
Absolutely. Had a quick chat before they left for qualifying last night, of which was polluted by a red flag. Car 777, Craig Scatella, who went off last night. Looks like they got that car out there because there was a lot of damage after qualifying for the Dream team to fix. And looking good for a restart as we look around through turn 5. In the distance there is the drag strip in the background. The speedway, it's cranking up later on tonight as well. The big motorsport precinct that we have here at Sydney Motorsport Park. So Nick Carroll back in the pits. Tim Shaw is out of it. This one back in 25th position, and that's a good sign for Morris to lose all that guard, because that was flapping around after that contact in the second corner, but won't have the best handling characteristics there. The super cheap auto number 67 back there in position number 7 behind Zach Bates, ahead of Eden Thornborough, McAllister and Bircher, the top 10. Elliot Barber in car 27 from 19th position up into 11th now.
They did some wholesale changes to that car. They had massive issues with it yesterday, misfiring. So an ECU change. They looked at sensors in relation to the cam and the crank angle sensor. They replaced those. So clearly they repaired it, but he was well and truly behind the 8-ball mat. So nice work. Elliot Barber climbs to almost in the top 10. Nathan Hearn in the Valvoline entry will control the field. That Fujitsu 73 is Owen Kelly. Same number his dad ran in Speedway. We're good to go. And it looks like Brett Holdsworth wanting to get there even sooner than us in the 99 in 3rd place. Ready to unleash them once again. Love that sound. All with 6.2 litre engines. Very controlled formula, running on the Hoosier tyres. Hearn unleashes the horsepower. Kelly maybe slips a fraction back towards Brett Holdsworth, and you can see they're all trying to avoid whatever is down at 1 there.
Oh, Hearn was tricky through the middle.
Oh, it's loose. It's loose through there.
And same too for Grice, but you know, Grice can do that on most laps without any track cleanup material there. In car number 3, runs back just behind John McCorkindale, who's having a standout debut season in the category. There he is in the dial before you dig entry. Car 69 with Ben Grice just behind. Zach Bates tucks him just behind this group of cars. This is a mega debut for the Sullivan's car. Car 24 on his debut, running around some of those names.
Really impressive. As I said before, the Bates family are very well known in motorsport. Both Rick and Neil have competed in supercars, and of course Neil in the Australian Rally Championship. Zach has gone the circuit racing path in Toyota 86. He's been brilliant, hasn't he? But this is a significant step up in horsepower and race car terms, and he has relished the opportunity. Real smarts from Zach Bates at the moment, sitting in 6th place and chasing Ben Grice. Nash Morris looking left and right behind them as they go through turn 8.
So Grice, who started from 10th up to 5th position with those opportunistic moves in the first turn, aided by that incident just ahead as well. So there he is, the All-American driveline and auto parts 03 that his dad made famous at the World 600 in Charlotte over 35 years ago in North Carolina. Just ahead of him is McCorkindale. So everybody settles into a groove here with still 8 laps to go. These guys will race at night time tonight too.
They will, and that will be an unbelievable sight. Oh, Grice is sideways through there. Is Nash Morris in trouble in the background? He's kept it together. Great work, but he drops back into the clutches of Eden Thornborough. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. I stood back about 6 foot from the screen. You could hear the tyres screeching. And that's not common for these Hoosier bag tyres to do that. Talking to some of the teams last night, here's the replay. Turn number 1, and he just got the edge of that cleanup material. So
particularly the rear of the car mat, speedway style through turn 1. How good was it to have his dad, Alan Grice, at Mount Panorama with us last time out?
So cool. We just got to get Ben into the Akubra hat now at some point. Not sure if that's going to work somehow. There's Zach Bates on the tail of Grice, talking to some of the teams last night about these Hoosier tyres that they run. I'll come back to that point because Caruso's got some updates from the lane.
Thanks, boys. I'm standing here with Rick Bates. Well, you guys are doing a great job. Zach's out there. He started ninth, moved up a few spots. It's great to see.
Yeah, no, it's his first time in Trans Am, obviously. Qualifying, he was on a good lap when the red flag came out, but other people would have had the same story. But he's moved up to 6 and hopefully can stay there or move forward.
Now, I know how talented he is because I actually raced him here in Toyota 86, and he blew the doors off everybody. He knows this track really well, doesn't he?
He does know this track well, yes, because he's raced Formula Ford here and 86, and obviously he likes the track, so yeah, it does help.
All right, best of luck with the rest of the race, mate.
Thank you.
It has been a pretty bruising affair so far, this Turtle Wax Trans Am race. Nick Carroll unfortunately caught up with that as he returns to the series full time this year. Can you talk us through the problem, Nick?
Yeah, unfortunately, we had some lap on contact, and it appears the nut of the ball joints come off, and subsequently the uprights come off as well. So, a bit unfortunate. It seems to be how my luck's going this year, but we'll fix it up for the next one and press on. So, you know, can't do much about it. So, anyway, it's good to be here still.
Enjoy it under lights tonight. I know we will go well.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Cheers.
I did the world's worst job before at the family tree for the Bates. I made a real meal of that. So here it is. Here's my best attempt. Okay. The brothers, respectively, are Rick, who we just heard from then a moment ago with Michael Caruso, Neil Bates, multiple Australian rally champion, Nicholas as well, who's been a part of the fabric of the supercar paddock with brake supply and so on. Beneath them, so if you're talking Neil Bates for a moment, are the rally drivers, Harry, an Australian champion, and Lewis Bates, who won a heat last time out in WA. Zach Bates is Rick Bates' son.
Yes.
Nicholas owns the car that Zach is running this weekend. Have you joined the dots? I hope you have. Thanks for playing along at home. Whatever that leads to is that Zach Bates is in 6th position and that car looks really tidy. He's doing a nice job.
It's a big, healthy, talented tree.
Isn't it?
It's real off.
Motorsport, but basically, yes.
Meantime, Mark Crutcher, we're watching 16th position, finally settling into the groove as it just suddenly darkens here a bit down in turn number 1. Brock Bowley, the Western Australian, who's back once again in the 33 machine. These guys running down the field in 16, 17, 18. And Lockie Dalton, who's dropped down after starting from position 4. He's now down in 19th spot. As into turn number 1 they go. Johnson trying to move back up. He's up to 17th from 24th in the Napa Auto Parts car. Of course, this result will set the grid for our nighttime race. You'll catch all the action on Stan Sport as well as 9 Gem later tonight. So it's going to be very, very cool. The evening session as Bowley bowls a wide. At turn number 2, drops 2 positions in the process.
What about the paint scheme on that car and the numbers on the side of it? It's very sort of Pixar cars, isn't it, almost in its look. Nathan Hearn's got a 1.9 second advantage as we see the Napa Auto Parts entry of Jet Johnson battling away with Mark Crutcher. Now, he's got by Mark, so that's for 15th place. So that's a gain there for Jet Johnson, but we'd expect him to be a little further up the order ordinarily. Holdsworth is holding down 3rd place, but Hearn has the quickest lap of the race so far, 1 minute 34.32. So Hearn is flying with less than 6 laps remaining in this one.
There's Tim Brook on the outside, so this is mixing up the series points as we enter the second half. This is Chris Pappas and John Harris. The 8 and the 88. Of course, Pappas ran this number last year. This is another new car they've wheeled out to, the number 8 team, running in 12th and 13th position ahead of Jackson Rice. So with all these incidents we've had here, it's really jumbled up the order from what our qualifying and grid sheet shows in front of us here in the commentary box. But it does give Nathan Hearn a bit of breathing space at the top now in regards to the series lead. It was his first pole position in Trans Am history, and now has a 1.7 second advantage as Pappas from a long way back on John Harris, who sees him. And the number 8 makes the move at the turn 2 hairpin.
That colour scheme on the Harris car makes me immediately think of Aaron Seaton, who we send a g'day to, who's been running in the Super 2 Championship but he's been a title winner in this class. And when he was with us, man, was he impressive in these cars. And of course, run out of the Harris operation. That's Craig Harris's son, young John, at the wheel there. His first time tonight, night racing. Anyway, and it's a lot of firsts for him when he's been going to all these different tracks around the country.
And chucking some lights above the track that's going to spice it up. Of course, Craig was one of the initial drivers in the Super 2 series in the day, back in the year 2000.
I've just been messaged by Lewis Bates, who says, good job on the family tree, you nailed it. I don't think I did, mate. I'm very sorry I made a meal of it. He said it starts to get pretty confusing when there are so many of us in different disciplines.
Yeah.
Very true.
And all look similar.
Yes.
Pretty hard to confuse sometimes. Which one am I talking to today?
Net result is his cousins are doing a ripper job in the Australian Rally Championship. And of course, Zach's continuing, as you can see there, in that maroon and white car behind Ben Grice to hold down sixth place. What a debut from that young fella. Meantime, McCorkindale is starting to put the pressure on Holdsworth here for third position. That's the fight for third place. McCorkindale, who's been in various different categories, Matt, has been getting better and better in Trans Am with every outing. We're hearing, because of the little breather we had, oh no, there's been contact as they all get concertinaed up. Bates, nowhere to go there, gets a little bit of damage at the front, but they all went nose to tail. Losing ground as a result is Grice. So it's all happening in that fight for third place. Amazingly, Holdsworth's held on to it. Bates will try and limp that 24 home. We're hearing that they're on their way home, Matt. This is the final lap.
Probably thankful this is the last lap for the Sullivans 24. This was the concertina effect you talked about at turn number 2. So it's Holdsworth ahead, McCorkindale, knock, knock. Here comes the fourth car in the mix and actually helped Bates make a position up here. And Grice was auditioning maybe for a rally drive with the Bates team coming out of turn 2.
I'm just surprised what happened to Holdsworth. Was there some sort of compression lock? It didn't look like it, but it sort of overslowed that car for some reason, didn't it? Hence the concertina that follows. He holds down third. Hearn headed for home. Good job in that Valvoline entry. You know that he leads the series. This is a great way to kick off a night of racing at Sydney Motorsport Park. Meanwhile, back off Corporate Hill, there's a little moment. Checkered flag awaits Nathan Hearn. Congratulations. Starts with a win at the Creek. Owen Kelly home second. And Brett Holdsworth will just get there ahead of McCorkindale. Look at Zach Bates. He's held off Grice as well. And he'll get home fifth despite that damage.
It's a case of who hasn't got damage, isn't it? What a streak for Nathan Hearn. 5th victory in succession, 6th of the season. And carrying that number 1, I don't think they'll need to do too much of that the way it's looking now as he picks up another victory. Moved across to GRM. He's got the support of both Barry Rogers and, of course, Marcus Ambrose. 1.5 seconds was the margin back to Owen Kelly at the end. Brett Holdsworth, 8 seconds behind Kelly back there in third. McCorkindale, Zach Bates on debut, 5th position, ahead of Grice, Morris, Thornborough, Cody Bircher inside the top 10 with Hugh McAllister. Elliot Barber from 19th up into 11th. Chris Pappas, John Harris. Then Jet Johnson made up 12 spots after going off with that incident with he and Tim Shaw. In turn number 1, it brought out a lengthy safety car period. Mick Rao, Jackson Rice and Craig Scatella of the cars that made it through. Race number 1, Turtle Wax Trans Ams here at Sydney Motorsport Park. The highlights as we started in sunshine, it ended up in overcast conditions. It was peak hour SMP styles into turn number 1 as the field of 25 set sail for turn number 1. This was the first incident on the way up to turn number 2 with Morris getting squeezed down to the grass, sending the field scattering. That's what happened to Tim Brook, who dropped a ton of positions in the 38 to finish in 19th spot at the end of the race. Carl Gurdon also not the big winner. Then this one looks like a severe engine detonation for the 66. It dropped a lot of oil down, and Johnson spinning off the track to 22nd place. Grice, now usually we watch his excitement levels in the 3, but he got some of that cleanup material, didn't lose the spot, but eventually finish in 6th position. This was Pappas on Harris up there at turn number 2, changing positions. And then this weird one at the top, Holdsworth pulling up and then everybody pinballing their way into each other at turn number 2 for the minor spots, 4th, 5th and 6th position. But out in front, it was Nathan Hearn clearly dominating race number 1 here today by 1.5 seconds back to Owen Kelly and Brett Holdsworth.
First one on the weekend, first podium of the year, Brett Holdsworth. How good is that?
Yeah, stoked, mate. Unreal. Great to get the Breeze Holiday Parks car up the front again, and feel like we've meant to be here for a while and just haven't been able to snap it, so I'm just stoked.
And you should be, Mr. Consistent. Enjoy that.
Thank you. Cheers.
In second place was Owen Kelly. That's 3 straight podiums, I believe. Owen, you're hitting form at the right time of the year.
Yeah, we need them. We lost some points at the first round, so we need to keep chipping away at it and try and peg a few back.
Owen, enjoy it under lights tonight.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
And our winner for the 5th race, 5th time in a row, Marcus Ambrose, not Marcus Ambrose. He's helping out, though. Nathan Hearn, congratulations. Well done. How good is that?
Awesome. You know, it makes all the work in the workshop worth it. You know, we've worked bloody hard, and yeah, it's all because Frenchie and Tommy really, we've got this, you know, position where we're so far and on a really hot streak. So, yeah, I mean, look, it's been a really up and down year so far. We struggled at the start of the year, but so far it's been going up linear, and it's been awesome. So, yeah, I mean, fingers crossed we can continue on for the next 2 races, because I've no doubt, you know, GRM's produced a really good car, 1-2 again, which is always good fun. So, yeah, we'll move on and see what happens race 2.
The championship leader, enjoy it under lights tonight.
Cheers, we'll do. Thank you.